Gamers, how's it going? We have a new set coming to Master Duel very shortly. Might already be out when you're watching this video. Posting it a couple days before the pack to help prepare people for the new cards that are coming. So making a video for Memento today. There's also going to be one for Primite and maybe for Centurion. I'll see if I can do something for that. I mean, this Memento support is pretty crazy. We just saw Pascal win a YCS with the Memento support, and that is a different format, right? Pascal was playing a bunch of Goblin cards to counter Ryzeal, which is not even going to be in Master Duel yet. So I don't really think we should be looking at his list for the Master Duel format just yet. When XCs becomes very dominant, it's going to probably make more sense to run Goblin cards within Memento. But as for now, I just kind of wanted to give you a nice little preparation video. This deck can be quite complicated. I will say, if you want like a more in-depth guide before I make a dedicated deck profile, my old Memento deck profile from before we got the new support is still like a pretty decent resource to just understand probably like just the basic gameplay loop of the deck. For this video, I'm more so going to be preparing you to use like the new support. Essentially, I'm going to be showing you a bunch of combo lines. You know, I got replays for your main combo, your multiple one-card combos that you have within the deck. As for the new support, it's actually not that many cards, and I'm pretty happy about that because it means that Memento is basically going to stay relatively budget friendly. Even if they made every single new support card a UR for Memento, you're really just looking at Aki, which is a one of. The other new one is Sleepy, which is also a one of. And then in the extra deck, you're looking at a two of Creation King. So that's just 4 cards, right? And the deck was already, I think, 4 URs to build, if I'm not mistaken. So if not 3, honestly, I don't remember. Obviously, that's not counting other extra deck stuff. That's more generic that you probably already have or maybe don't. And hand traps, of course, as well as staples. But for the most part, the deck itself is actually pretty budget, and I don't think it's going to be getting too much crazier expensive, even if they made every new card UR, which is really awesome. I guess there is the exception that if you want to play Goblin Biker Grand Breakout, that is a UR, so that would add to it, but you don't have to run this card. This card is a way to summon from your deck the Memento Goblin. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be running 3 of this, right? This is just a test build essentially, but you know, this card is a 1-card combo. So if you get a hand where you have this card plus like a bunch of hand traps, well, at least you can like normal summon Ash, activate this, summon Goblin, and you get a combo from that instead of getting nothing, right? So that's why I think it's probably worth running, but I don't think it's an absolute must run at 3 or anything like that. As for the general playstyle of the deck, if you're not familiar at all, essentially it's a deck that takes advantage of destroying its own monsters. It's almost like a good version of Dinos in that sense. It generates a bunch of advantage from popping itself. For example, Darkblade can destroy itself to summon a Memento from your deck. So you can summon Anguish, which can search a card. So you know, a lot of what you're doing with this deck is just trying to generate advantage with destruction. And while we're only getting like 3 cards, really, the 3 support cards are so crazy that they genuinely elevate this deck by a ton. So the new cards are Aki. This one essentially gives you some insane grind game potential and also adds a little bit to your ceiling. In the graveyard, if a Memento card is destroyed, this card can special summon itself, and it doesn't get banished when it leaves the field. So you get to reuse this card essentially every turn because the odds of you popping a card in Memento are incredibly high. So basically every turn this card will special summon from the grave, and then if this card is destroyed, you can add a Memento card from your graveyard or banish pile to your hand. So oftentimes you're going to be adding back the Memento Fusion, which can banish itself to search while it's in the graveyard. And so you get some insane value off of Aki throughout a duel and just some really ridiculous grind game potential. Sleepy, on the other hand, is a card that if you destroyed a Memento card this turn, you can special summon it from your hand as a quick effect, which means you can use it on your own turn or your opponent's turn, right? And it can fusion summon on summon. So a lot of the time with Sleepy, you're going to be making a twin dragon, which can then pop itself and search on opponent's turn, you know, your 2 Memento hand traps, or on your own turn, probably an extender and something that you need to keep your combo going. So this card opens up a lot of lines for the deck. The craziest support card that we got is this new fusion monster, Creation King. So 2 really crazy effects. Actually, there's all 3 effects on this card are crazy. The first effect is very important, is that on summon, you can send 3 Memento cards from your deck or extra deck to the grave. So much of the time on summon, you're going to be sending the Creation King to the graveyard, your second copy that's in the extra deck. You're going to be sending your Combined Creation, which can shuffle back 5 to special summon itself, and you're most likely going to be sending the Aki, which is crazy in the grave, right? Since it has that recursion from the graveyard. If you destroy something, gives you a free body, fetches your fusion spell when you pop it. So usually you'll be sending those 3. And the reason you're sending another copy of Creation King to the grave with its own effect is because you can banish this card from your grave and just search your field spell. So on summon, this card essentially sets up your Combined Creation, it sets up Grind Game Recursion, and it essentially searches your field spell, not to mention that it also has a quick effect to pop any amount of memento monsters on your own side of the field, and then you get to destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the same amount. It's just kind of a broken card. It's really crazy and very easy to summon. It only requires 3 memento monsters, which seems insane, but in this deck it's really not that crazy because Memento Fusion, if you destroyed a memento card this turn, can just shuffle back materials from the grave. So you activate this, shuffle back 3 random memento names that you don't need in your grave, and you get to summon this dude. So that's generally the cards being added here. I don't want to spend too long on this introduction portion, but I did want to kind of give you just a little overview of the support. So what I have for you is a couple of replays. I'm going to show you like full crazy combo with Darkblade. We'll go through that replay a little bit slower so I can do some explanation, and after that I'll quickly show you like a 1-card combo with Mace and a 1-card combo with Goblin, and maybe something else, but I think that should pretty much cover it to just give you a solid introduction and grasp on the deck before the cards come out, so that you're prepared and you have a solid little resource that you can check out. Keep in mind also, this list is not final. The staples you run might be different, and the ratios and stuff like that. This is more so a guideline. I think the extra deck is really good. I think the main deck is a fine thing to jump into Master Duel with, and you're probably going to do quite good with it, but you could possibly make it better too. Like, I'm not running Fuelos, for example. Maybe you'll want to replace something for that or whatever. So, just keep that in mind. But yeah, let's jump into those replays. All right, so we're going to start off here with just a 1-card combo. So full combo off of Darkblade. And I'm just going to tell you right now, technically this combo sets up 9 monster negates plus more interruptions. Like, it's basically over 10 interruptions easily off this 1-card combo. Not even counting these cards, by the way. Not even counting the hand traps that I have here. So Darkblade, we're going for the Anguish, and this is a line that you're mostly going to be going for if you already have Called by the way. Most of the time, you're going to want to search the Tatsu, which is like the horse card, when you're activating Anguish here. But if you have Called By and you can Called By Droll, it's really advantageous actually to go for Sleepy first to get your Fusion 2 early. Your Fusion 2, searches 2 cards and just gets you into your plays, gets you some extension also into Nib and stuff like that. So I would say if you don't have to play around Droll, you go for Sleepy. But, when I do a more detailed deck profile, once the cards are actually out, I'll show you that. But yeah, here I'm just going to show you like ideal scenario. You have Called By, you don't have to worry about Droll, so you're going for Sleepy and just going all in, So Sleepy, special summon here because we popped a Memento card this turn. We get to special summon it from the hand, go into Memento Twin Dragon, which can pop itself to search 2 Memento cards. So here we would search the Tatsu, and we would search the Horned Dragon, which just special summons itself. Is essentially just an extender here. And then we also get the Graveyard effect of Twin Dragon to special summon back our Anguish from the graveyard. There's another effect on Anguish, so it is a searcher, but it also can special summon a level 2 or lower Memento from the grave, which comes up a little bit later in this combo, because I like to use Elf and Memento. You don't have to do this, but that's just my preference. So we're going for Tatsu here, pop itself, and what we send with Tatsu is we send the Gyat, we send a Goblin, and we send a Mace. So since the Gyat is sent to the grave, we get to special summon it. And here with Gyat, I'm going to add back the Sheep. The Sheep, it doesn't really matter very much here. Like, it's not going to be part of the combo. It's really just a card that I'm going to pop later in the combo to special summon from the deck. But I could have added, I could have also added like the horse here or the Darkblade. Like, it didn't really matter. Just want to point that out. Either way, special summon my extender here, which is Horned Dragon, to go into an Elf. Now we have some targeting protection that we can play with to play around, you know, Imperm potentially if they didn't already use it for some dumb reason. I can go for Anguish, pop the Gyat to special summon the Mace from the grave, and Mace can search out my Memento Fusion. I'm going to go for Fusion, shuffling back the Horse, the Dark Blade, and the Twin Dragon here, and I get to summon our brand new Creation King. So Creation King is going to be sending the 3 cards you usually are going to be sending here. You won't always send these 3, but this is going to be by far the most popular sends, I would say, for this card, and that would be the Combined Creation to summon later in the turn, the Aki Iron, and the Creation King itself. So here you could go for the Fusion effect in the grave to search your field spell. You want to have your field spell because it extends your plays. Then you can go for the Graveyard effect of Memento Fusion, destroy the Anguish, and you get 2 effects here. So you get to search a spell from your deck with the Memento Fusion. So you add the Bone Party. This is what I'm going to be popping Sleepy with later to get an extra extender on the field. But here you're going to get the effect of Aki and the effect of Memento Midclan. I'm not sure how to say this. We'll just say the Memento field spell. You're going to get both of those effects. So you get to summon 2 here. So Aki summon from grave, the Midclan summon the Anguish again. Well, not the Anguish, summon the Goblin. I mean, my bad. From the graveyard. So special Aki, special Goblin. Goblin can pop the Aki on the field to dump 2 cards to the grave. Here I'm dumping the Cranium Burst. So this is not a must run in the deck, but it is 5 monster negates on the field while you control the Combined Creation, and it's the reason that I can say we set up 9 negates. You don't have to run this card, and I might, after testing in Master Duel, end up removing it, but for the purposes of this video, I'm running it. So we're sending that trap here because in end phase, our field spell is just going to set it. So just having it in the grave is good enough, and I just sent a random body to shuffle back. But either way, we popped our Aki, so we get his effect to add back our banished Fusion to hand. So we're going to use this Fusion on opponent's turn, mostly to make Guardian Chimera, which is obviously like an insane interruption. Really easy to set up. Here we go for a Bone Party. Pop the Sleepy we added to hand. Summon the Dark Blade. I'm going to go Sleepy effect to dump another horse, but that didn't really matter. I'm going to be real with you. And then we're going to use these 2 to just go IP. I like IP in this deck a lot. We get to summon a lot of bodies on opponent's turn. I mean, our field spell is going to summon a body on opponent's turn. Our Combined Creation, if our opponent activates anything, Combined Creation can summon from the grave. Summon Anguish. Anguish can search Sleepy. Sleepy summons itself. You get Twin. Like, there's just so many bodies getting summoned to your field on opponent's turn. It's extremely easy to make a 4-material Appaloosa on opponent's turn if you need it, or if you feel like you should, or otherwise, you can just use this to make an SP, of course, and that's also very, very good. So anyway, here I'm going to shuffle back 5 to summon out my Combined Creation. So we're shuffling back 5, and I just want to point out here for priority's sake. So, like, what are your priorities in the grave when you summon Combined Creation? You almost always want to shuffle back the Sleepy, you want to shuffle back the Mace, and you want to shuffle back the Goblin. The reason for that is because on opponent's turn, you're going to go Combined Creation, summon Anguish. Anguish is going to search Sleepy. Sleepy, because the card was destroyed this turn, most likely can special summon itself from hand, Fusion into your Twin that you shuffled back earlier, and you'll get to search both of your hand traps. So the Mace is a Snatch Steal, and the Goblin is a targeting protection. So you definitely want to shuffle back those hand traps and the Sleepy to be able to search all of them on opponent's turn again. In the grave, you definitely want to leave at least 1 copy of Anguish. This is by far the best summon off of Combined Creation during opponent's turn. Other cards you want to leave in the grave, you can leave the Horned Dragon. This card is pretty useful. If you use the effect of Creation King popping itself to pop an opponent's card, you get the effect of your field spell to special summon a Memento monster from your grave with a lower level than what was destroyed. And, Horned Dragon is a lower level than Creation King, so Horned Dragon is actually some extra removal. If this card is destroyed, you can pop a Memento card you control and 2 cards on your opponent's field. So that's like some extra form of removal in some scenarios, so I would leave that in the grave. Gyat, you just never want to draw, so you just leave it in the grave, and also you can bring it back with Elf for like a free material for IP. And the Aki, you always want to leave in the grave. That's where it's best. It gives you recursion. It like loops your resources, gives you back your banished cards or cards from the grave when it's destroyed. Aki, you basically always want in the grave. So I would say like those cards are the ones you want to leave in the grave the most, especially Anguish is like the highest priority one, I would say. So anyway, bring back the Combined Creation. We have our Memento Fusion. Memento field spell in the end phase sets our Cranium Burst. And so on opponent's turn, first thing you do, and I didn't even set my other cards here because I didn't really want to count them. I only wanted to use the interruptions that were part of the 1-card combo, right? Like all 4 of these cards here were not used at all. So what we set up here, really, we have IP, we have a quick effect pop. Our trap is 5 monster negates, because if our opponent activates a monster on the field, it has to be on the field, by the way, we get to lose 1,000 attack on our combined creation and just negate the effect. So that's 5 monster negates on top of the IP, on top of the quick effect pop, on top of Guardian Chimera, which we can make basically at any moment as soon as we've destroyed a card. Actually, no, we don't even need to destroy a card to use this. So yeah, at any moment you can make a Guardian Chimera if you want to. You could also run Dragos Tapalia if you wanted to, maybe make it using the Creation King. In some scenarios you can do that. So yeah, you have a lot of options already, and that's not even mentioning the amount of recursion we have. So here we're playing against a bot that's playing super heavy Samurai. It's just the best bot really to like use my interactions against within MD Pro 3. And here, you know, I go for Elf, special the Gyat. We get the effect, because my opponent activated something, I get to special summon from the grave with combined creation. The Gyat effect triggers to add back my Bone Party to hand for follow-up. And here we're going to start fast forwarding a little bit because the amount of interactions we have is crazy. So I go Angwitch, search the Sleepy here. We're going to fast forward. When they activate the effect of their Wakaushi, I can go for my quick effect Creation King, pop itself, pop the Wakaushi. Here I could use my field spell to summon from grave, or I could also just use my Aki effect to special from grave because a card was destroyed, but I decide not to. I need a space on the field actually to summon out my Sleepy so that I can fusion on opponent's turn. So we go for Sleepy effect, use these 2. We can go into a Twin Dragon. Twin can pop itself and search 2 from the deck. We search our 2 hand traps. Our Mace is Snatch Steal on the field while we control Combined Creation on the field, and we get to bring back the Angwitch again just as material for a link with IP. Our opponent summons the Soul Piercer. We can just snatch the Soul Piercer with our Mace, and then we can make a 4 material Appaloosa using our opponent's monster as material. So here we currently have 9 negates on the field. Not to mention we can make a Guardian Chimera at any given moment. We also have, like, that's not even to mention the hand traps that we had access to and all those things, which I didn't use, you know? So here I'm just showing that you can easily make a Guardian Chimera on opponent's turn. You can use Goblin. Goblin is targeting protection. It's not really that useful as a hand trap. You're mostly going to be keeping it just to fuse it away to make a Guardian Chimera. So here, for example, you know, I'm fusing away my combined creation because I no longer need the monster negates. I can get some removal, some draws, and because I have so many mementos in the grave, it's going to be extremely easy to summon back the combined creation, right? So it doesn't really matter if my opponent's about to end their turn anyway. I might as well just get rid of it and get some extra value off of Guardian Chimera here. So we go Guardian Chimera, we get a pop and draw 2. Very, very good. They activate another, doesn't matter. I'm just trying to show as much interaction as possible here, and just show the amount of grind that we have access to within this deck. So, you know, Elf here, bring back the Gyat. Gyat can grab my Memento Fusion again. We can shuffle back 5. You know, you shuffle back your fusions just to get them back in the extra deck and summon the combined creation. You can go Bone Party. You know, it doesn't even matter at this point. I'm just kind of pressing my buttons. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. If you summon Darkblade, you know, you can discard a Memento monster to pop a back row. So sometimes that could come up, you know, in some scenarios, even on opponent's turn. Here we go, Aki, you know, Aki makes it so, oh, I forgot to mention that too. Aki unsummon. This card makes it so level 9 or higher Memento monsters can just attack directly. This is really funny because combined creation plus Creation King is just exact lethal. So if you get that effect, even if they have a board of 5 monsters, they're still dead. It's pretty silly. You know, here we can go for access code. We can go Memento Fusion, you know, shuffle back 3, summon Creation King mill just because I wanted to. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's a really, really good showcase, honestly, for the deck. I'm gonna go way faster for the other replays, but I just wanted this to be like a solid introduction for people that, you know, they just want to learn the deck basically. But yeah, next let me show you a 1-card combo for Goblin, and then we'll do Mace. All right, so here we go. So again, we're fast forwarding through this. Like, this is, I don't want this video to be crazy long, but basically I normal summon my Ash. I use my Goblin spell, you know, to special Goblin from the deck. Goblin pop itself, mill 2. We mill the Gyat and the Memento Fusion. Memento Fusion fuse the Gyat plus the Goblin back into the deck to make Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon can pop itself to search 2. We search Sleepy and Darkblade. We can go for the Gyat effect in the gray, special summon itself, and then we can special summon the Sleep. Use all 3 of these monsters to go into a Creation King. Creation King mill 3. Creation King banish from the grave to grab my field spell. Field spell activate. I use the graveyard effect of Memento Memento Fusion to search Bone Party and pop my Creation King. Then I get to special summon from grave using my field spell and special Aki because I sent it to the grave earlier. I summon Darkblade pop Aki, summon out the Anguish. I get the Aki effect in the grave being popped. I can add back my Memento Fusion, Anguish, search the combined creation. We can go for Bone Party, pop the combined creation, summon the Tatsu. Then I go for Anguish effect, pop herself to summon the Gyat. Then I can go Elf, bring back Gyat, Gyat plus the Tatsu, make IP. Then I shuffle back 5 to summon out my combined creation. Here it is. And we set, you know, the fusion spell, the imperm. We get to set our trap that we sent earlier. And this might not look that crazy because you're like, well, you don't even have your fusion. But that's not exactly true. My fusion's in the grave. If my opponent activates anything, I can use my combined creation effect to special my fusion. And then if my fusion, you know, activates its effects to destroy itself and pop an opponent's card, then I'll get my Memento Miglan effect to summon the Anguish. And then Anguish can do what we did in the last replay, you know, search the Sleep, fusion, search the Mace plus the Goblin, all that stuff. And we can still, you know, make our Guardian Chimera on opponent's turn, everything. And we have our 5 negates, you know, like this is really, really crazy stuff. So, you know, opponent, again, just playing against the bot here, gonna just activate my Cranium. I got 5 monster negates. They activated something. I get to bring back my fusion. They go for Wakaushi. I'm gonna go for my effect here, pop myself and their Wakaushi that they activated. Then, you know, I get the graveyard effect of Aki. I get to bring back my Anguish with my field spell. Anguish can search Sleepy. Aki makes my monsters, basically Aki can chain block the Anguish here. Then I get to search Sleepy, special Sleepy. Sleepy can trigger on summon to fusion into Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon can then pop itself to search 2. I search the Mace and the Goblin. We get the Twin Dragon effect to special back our Anguish. Then I can go and grab with Mace their Soul Piercer, make a Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera, you know, can draw 2 and pop 1. I can go for IP, make a 4 material Appaloosa, still with the combined creation and the 5 negates on the field. I can negate their Graveyard Soul Piercer with the Appo, and then, you know, they just activate another Wakaushi. We basically achieved exactly the same board, essentially, with just the Goblin, right? Like, this is still an insane setup. It's still over 10 like way over 10 interruptions. Like, it's absolutely broken. All right, and this next line here is with Mace. This is more of a struggle mode line. You know, it exists. You're not gonna have to do this very often, but just in case, if you have a bunch of hand traps and Mace in hand, you can use Verte Anaconda to activate Memento Fusion. You get locked out of special summoning, but you can at least set up like a mid-range board using Mace. It's not bad. It's pretty solid, all things considered. It's not the best, but, you know, it's better than nothing. So Mace pop itself, we can search the Tatsu, and then Tatsu special, Tatsu effect, pop itself, send the Gyat and the Sleepy, special Gyat, add Sleepy, Sleepy special, we get to fusion into our Twin Dragon. So we go into Twin Dragon here, Twin Dragon, pop itself, add the Aki and the Horned Dragon. We get Twin Dragon, special Gyat, special our extender, Horned Dragon to go into a Verte Anaconda, pay some life points, send the Memento Fusion, shuffle back 3. We get to go into our Creation King can then send 3 to the grave. We go for Creation King effect in the grave to get our field spell, activate our field spell, activate Memento Fusion, pop our Verte to add Bone Party to our hand, Bone Party, pop the Aki to get our Sleepy in hand, Aki, get back our Memento Fusion. We set the Memento Fusion, and then we get the graveyard, the end phase effect, I mean, of our field spell. So what we have here is we have Bone Party, we have Memento Fusion, we have Recursion from the grave with Aki, plus the field spell here is going to be able to bring back Anguish. We already have Sleepy in hand, so if a card gets popped, we can special Sleepy, get Twin Dragon. Won't be as good for the searches, but, you know, it's solid. So is it as good? No, but it is still like decent. You know, it's better than passing on basically nothing. It's a mid-rangey board, and this can definitely be enough to win you a game. Like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely pretty solid. So, you know, they're going for the Jet here, which is going to Ash the Jet. You know, we're just going to use our hand traps as if we had them, because that's mostly the case if you bricked on a Mace, you know. So they go for the Waka, just like we did earlier. You know, we pop the Waka, we get our Memento field spell effect, we get to special back our Horned Dragon, special Aki, you know, they activate that, we get to special Sleepy plus the Horned Dragon. I can go into a Twin Dragon pop itself, and I get to search Mace plus Goblin, special, you know, from the grave the Anguish can then search from my deck the combined creation for later. I can go for my Memento Fusion just to summon Guardian Chimera, draw 2, pop a card. You know, it's nothing too crazy in end phase. You know, I can go for Bone Party, pop Aki, summon Darkblade. Darkblade can discard a Memento to pop the back row, and I get the effect of the Aki to add back my Memento Fusion. So if I needed to, I can make like a second Guardian Chimera, or, you know, whatever. There's just so many things you can do at this point. Lethal is easy to get to. You know, there's crazy grind game within this deck. So yeah, not the craziest board ever, but you won't have to do a Mace one card combo very often. This is more so to show the option is there. The extra deck is very loose for this deck, so you definitely have space to run a weird tech option like Verte that almost never comes up. Anyway, those first 2 segments of the video already made it longer than I wanted it to be. I wanted this to be a pretty short little introduction to Memento, but it is a pretty complex deck, and so there's a lot to talk about with this one. Definitely going to be coming out with a more detailed deck profile once the cards are actually in Master Duel, but for now, I hope this little MD Pro 3 pre-release guide can at least help you if you want to just jump in before I've had the time to practice it and you know, put out an actual deck profile for it. So yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Hope it was helpful. Thank you and see ya.